Hey guys, it's your girl WdymJodie, and this week I'm going to be doing a video on the disappearance of Madeleine McCann because I was requested to do this video by like 3 people. So I'm just going to get into it. I'm going to tell you what happened first, and then I'll talk about my theories. So basically, the McCann family went on holiday to Portugal the end of April, and on the 3rd of May 2007 Madeleine went missing from her apartment bed. Now, the night before Madeleine went missing, she woke up the night before crying because her parents weren't in the room, because every night the group that was away would go to a restaurant and leave all the kids in the apartment and check on them every hour. But the night that Madeleine went missing, the parents had left the patio door open because the night before she was crying and they didn't want to wake her up this night, so they left the patio door open, which was accessible from 2 different areas outside of the apartment estate, so anybody could access it. The Portuguese police believe that Madeleine died from an accident and her parents tried to cover it up. The McCann stayed in apartment 5A, and it was the ground floor, and the back was overlooking the pool, and that was where the patio door was. It was a sliding glass door, and that's the door that they had left open. And that was also on this side, it was overlooking the crossway to get towards the beach. Madeleine slept in a single bed which was behind the door, so the way the rooms were was there was a window here, and then there was 2 single beds, and she was at the bed behind the door, and then her twin siblings were in travel cots. So there were 7 people that went with them, so they were called the Tap of 7. So there was 7 adults and then 8 children, including the McCann children, and they were all friends of the McCanns. So at 9:30 was the check for Kate to go back to check on the kids, but Matthew Oldfield, one of the people they went on holidays with, said, "Oh no, I'll check on the kids, it's okay, I'm going to check on my own kids." And it was really weird because nobody had ever checked on anyone else's kids before. They all checked on their own kids. So Kate was like, okay then, whatever. So when Matthew went back to check on his own kids, he went to check in the McCann's room, and when he went in, he noticed the door was wide open and there was no noise. He didn't notice if the windows were open. He didn't actually check Madeleine's bed because there was no noise, so he just said, okay, they're asleep. So he doesn't actually know if Madeleine was in her bed at that time. So he just left, went back to the apartment, went back to the restaurant, was like, yeah, the kids are fine, everyone's asleep. So he just closed the door, whatever. Then at 10 o'clock, Kate went to check on her kids, and she noticed the door was wide open, and she thought it was so weird because she leaves the door closed. So she went in, she went to close the door, but when she went to close the door, there was a draft to close the door with her, and she was like, what the hell, because they had kept all the windows locked and the shutters locked. You know, when you go to Portugal, there's shutters because it's so warm. So they were all locked, they hadn't opened them at all. So just like, why the fuck are the windows open? And then she went in to check, and Madeleine wasn't in her bed, but Madeleine's cuddle cat, that was her toy, was in the bed, and a pink blanket belonged to her, was in the bed, but Madeleine wasn't there. And Kate left the twins still in their beds. She ran back to the apartment screaming, they've taken her, somebody's taken Maddie. She didn't think to say, oh, they've wandered out of the room. She just automatically said, oh, they've taken her. And I just think that was really weird because she could have easily wandered out, the door was left open. So basically, that's what happened, and they reported her missing about half an hour after that because they were checking around the apartment place themselves, I'm guessing, and the police had asked them not to report any social media or news, anything like that, but they went straight to the news reporters, we're straight on TV, all this shit. So there was 2 sightings the night of Madeleine's disappearance. The first one was Jane Tanner, and she was on holidays with the McCanns, and she went back to check on her kids during the night when they were out for dinner, and when she went back to check on her kids, she seen Lynn was walking back to check on her kids. She seen Maddie's father talking to one of his friends, but neither of the men seen Jane walking past them. And this was really weird because like none of them fucking noticed seeing her walk past, but she seen them. And when she was walking, she seen a man, and she said that he seen him at 9:15, carrying like 4 blonde hair, pale skin, pink pajamas, and she was like limp in his arms, and he was walking across the junction, and that's like towards the beach. And he was like 5'7", he had dark hair, and he didn't look like a tourist. So she just thought like, oh, it's someone carrying their kid home or whatever. And then also at about 10, an Irish family were on holidays, so the Smiths seen this man at the beach while walking like towards the beach, and he was carrying a girl, and they described her for pale skin, pale pajamas. They didn't actually say the colour. Pale pajamas, and the man looked uncomfortable to be carrying her. They described him as 5'7" to 5'10", and he was wearing like yellow type bottoms, and basically both of the descriptions was exactly the same. Both of them said he didn't look like a tourist. They basically described the same people. So it's kind of weird. Nobody ever found out who this man was. They tried to investigate, but they didn't find out who it was. So it could have been Maddie. Nobody's gonna know. So some of my theories are, so basically one of my theories is the same as the Portuguese police. Maybe the parents are both doctors, so they could have gave Maddie something to put her to sleep because she woke up the night before. They could have gave her something to put her to sleep, and it turned out wrong, and it ended up killing her. And they didn't want to get in trouble, so they covered it up. They accidentally killed their daughter. So that's one of my theories. I also think maybe she was kidnapped. It could have been an abduction. The doors were open. It was easy to access the apartment. They could have easily like came in, took Maddie and left. There was police dogs brought into the apartment and sniffed around in the McCann's apartment, and they did find dead body scents. They also found dead body scents in a car they rented the morning after Maddie went missing. One of my theories is that maybe because the window was open when Kate went to check on the kids, maybe Matthew handed Maddie out the window to somebody, because the windows had been locked for the whole fucking trip they were there. They hadn't opened them, and now they were just opened after Matthew was in. Why would he even go and check on the kids? Nobody had done that for the whole trip, and it's just this one time he checks on the kids. One of the kids has fucking gone missing. Another theory of mine, I don't want to believe it, but it could be easily true, that Maddie could have been put into prostitution or sex trafficking. Now she could have easily been put into that by somebody that abducted her, but also there was a sightseeing, I can't say who because I don't know who, seen this thing happen, but I didn't read it in a documentary that I watched, and it was somebody seen a blonde woman handing over a blonde baby to somebody in a white van. And I really don't believe this one, but it is a theory, so I'm gonna put it in there. So maybe her mother could have even handed her over for sex trafficking for money. I mean, even from this case, they're getting so much money. It's horrible to believe, but some people are sick. Half of me hopes that Madeleine is alive, so one day we do get to hear her story, but another half of me is thinking, if she's alive and in sex trafficking, that's something you don't want to live through. So as bad as it sounds, she's probably better off dead. So hopefully we end up hearing the true story. There is a Netflix documentary being made about it. I do think it's going to be completely biased and we're not going to learn anything from it, because Netflix is like an English American thing. Their fucking parents are English doctors. They're not going to bait them out there, they're going to pay to be biased. I think they're being covered up because they're doctors, they have money to cover this show up. I don't think that she's going to be found ever. So there will actually never be justice for this kid. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd like if you told me your theories or what you think on the whole thing, because it's all just crazy. And don't forget to share my video to your friends. A lot of people have suggested it. If you want to hear about other crimes, people gone missing, deaths that happened, I can find information and do a video on it for you. Just let me know in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!